Hi guys, we are live. Welcome to MMA Live at 5 on Mike Reviews It All. I'm going to change the format a little bit this week. I'm going to try to stick to one story at a time for the most part. I will do the best to field your comments since I know this is live. It's an interactive show that you guys are gracious enough to to chime in on, and I really appreciate that. How's it going, Zoltan? You are first, my man. You are first fan. How you been, man? How's your week going? I was just saying I'm going to switch up the format just a little bit this week. A lot going on. I want to try to break this up kind of into 5 stories. Still, as always, field your guys' questions and suggestions, but that way later for the channel I can break it up into 5 separate videos as well. Whoever else is out there, hey, thanks for tuning in. We're going to hit a lot today. I want to hit a lot today. Couldn't catch you last time live. No problem, man. You told you I would this time. Thank you. How's it going, Lambo Rambo? I will not forget you because of that cool name. For sure, Lambo Rambo. Who could forget that? Hi guys, a third face out there. This is moving quick. How you guys doing? And I'll break down this week some news about Uriah Hall, who still watches WWE. Torrin says, probably I haven't watched it in a long time, but I'm thinking probably a few more viewers are going to come out of Ronda coming into this now. I will sure. Cap, how's it going, Cap? Yeah. I think it says nobody. Not a whole lot, but, they're doing good in WWE studios. They're still making money. Thank you very much, Lambo. Really appreciate you, man. Thanks for watching every video, especially you guys that are here all the time. Ronda going WWE for good. For WWE, bad for Ronda. I don't know so much, and I'm going to talk about that. That's one of the subjects that I'm going to hit. I'm going to go ahead and start this since you got some people here, because I wanted to kind of address the stories that I have from what I think are least important to most important. Where's the girl? She is my movie star, so she's out on a set actually acting, setting up for the community Peter Pan in the big Comcast theater. So it hurts her legacy as an MMA fighter for sure. Oh, for sure, yeah, it will. And I'm going to go ahead and get into that for a minute. Yes, Sultan says, WWE used to be good when they had Kurt Angle, Stone Cold Undertaker, Triple A, and many more. Oh, for sure. Are you an artist? What kind of artist? I can't draw very well. I will say that I can't draw very well. My wife is an artist. My wife's an incredible artist. She's also a teacher. I'll stick with being a martial artist. And I know I had a few beers the last time I was on, a movie one. I've been in 2 movies. I'm actually, nothing you've ever heard of. I'm actually working on a movie set right now. A movie that'll be done in hopefully in about 2 months. And I will let you guys know what it is. I'm really trying to get some roles out there with some MMA stuff out there. But this one's a comedy. This one's going to be a comedy. The name of it is called Unemployed. Sources say Conor is still not getting his trip to the belts from here. Well, we'll see, Tehran. I'm going to go ahead and go into that for a minute. But yeah, I'll give you a brief description of the movie, though. So next time Nuggets fight, we'll still have never defended his belt. We'll be trying to win it again. Yeah, for sure. That is a whole crazy thing. No, the movie I'm doing, it's actually called Unemployed. It's an idea I actually came up with originally. I finally got some help from some professional script writers, some actors and things, and it's basically about 2 guys in their late 20s that decide being unemployed is easier than working. It's official, he is being stripped. The ad for Khabib versus Pony says lightweight title fight. Is it a horror movie? It's not a horror movie. It basically goes through the adventures of 2 guys in their late 20s that have been friends since before high school. They both become unemployed. I would say over something stupid that doesn't blow, because that's going to be in the trailer and that doesn't blow anything. And basically it's their adventures of once they figure out how cool it is to be unemployed, navigating the laws and rules of how to stay unemployed. Can you give a shout out for my son? He just turned 1. Hey, shout out to your son. Happy birthday, man. Seattle's new Seattle. What is included? Oh, my God. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Gerardo family. I did not mean to delete your message there. I was trying to see it and I accidentally deleted it. Sorry about that snafu. Oh, the new beverage tax is ridiculous. What it is almost 2 cents. 1.75 ounce. 1.75 cents per ounce on sugary beverages. Soda, Gatorade. What's your favorite type of movies? Because mine's a horror turn. Says, used to be martial arts. I don't like to stick with a certain genre. I like to keep myself open to a lot of different movies. My favorite movie is probably The Dark Knight, and I don't watch a lot of other superhero movies, honestly. But you know, that was my favorite movie. I loved the fighting, everything else. Next is breathing tasks. Oh, for sure, Zoltan. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if you've seen my video, you've seen the Starbucks claws. Those, you know, the Zionist freaking commies in Seattle. I like action and adventure, too. Zionist commies in Seattle decided to exempt themselves from that tax with the Starbucks clause, which means any drink that's main ingredient is milk is exempt from the tax. So basically, it's a poor tax, and people just aren't going to buy soda in Seattle. What they're doing is they're going elsewhere, and Costco even told them to. Please, I want you to. Capitalist countries have become statist bureaucracies controlling economies through taxes and regulations. Yeah, I don't like to get too political. Both sides piss me off almost equally. But I'm going to jump right into the first story. I don't know if you guys know that Uriah Hall, of course, was scratched from the last UFC fight night. There's been an update on him. Of course, he passed out on the way to the scales to the weigh-in. He says now he thinks he suffered a mini seizure and a slight heart attack. I don't know if he's over-exaggerating, but he was taken to the hospital after he fainted just before stepping onto the scale at UFC fight night. You're from the Northeast, I can tell by your accent. Northwest, actually. You know Randy Orton. I do not know Randy Orton, Lambo. I do not know Randy Orton. But of course, he missed the weight, didn't make the card. Michael Johnson got moved up on the fight in his hometown. Unfortunately for him, ended up losing. But according to Hall, he was on weight when his body collapsed, was held in the local hospital overnight for observation. Uriah was scheduled to fight Vitor Belfort, of course, in the co-main event. Dana White said UFC workers say Hall is a clown and doesn't take weight seriously. He said that earlier, but there's been updates. It's been a bust his whole career. I think he doesn't train as hard as he should and as hard as he needs to, and hopefully he addresses that after that. Of course, that was supposed to be Vitor's retirement fight. I don't know, a little pump. Sorry. I do know Demetrius Johnson, though, and he trains about 30 miles from me. Super nice guy. But to quote Uriah Hall, he says, "I was in the hospital. It was the most dramatic event of my life." Weirdo. Uriah Hall's nice techniques, just not killer instinct. That's true. Needs to retire. Not a real long career, but it's hard to disagree with you right now. Can't take any I don't know, but yeah. So he said, "I think I had a mini seizure and a slight heart attack. At the same time, my kidneys were just not good." Hall said he sustained injuries during training that didn't allow him to cut as usual. Time here for me is 5:05. We started at 5. We start at 5 p.m. Pacific time. That's why I call it MMA Live at 5. So every Thursday, MMA Live at 5. Uriah also said a doctor told him he probably would have died the next day if he would have fought and not been hospitalized. That makes me think that maybe he shouldn't fight again. But there's another question here. You can question Uriah Hall's dedication or whatever's going on here, but the UFC and a lot of other fighters have had a lot of issues lately with guys missing weights. They've had to cancel events. Pressure 709. Hey, thanks for tuning in at 709 there. I love Donald Cerrone, one of my favorite fighters. That dude is a badass. It's amazing how often he fights. It is amazing. But to get back to weight cuts, I think something really needs to change. Here in Washington State, we have a same-day weigh-in. I think this does discourage fighters from cutting as much weight because they don't have time to hydrate up to the weight that they're supposed to be fighting at. We all know that there's a huge discrepancy now in a weight that someone actually is and their fighting weight. Some a lot more for others. This is what I would propose, and I think I've heard some things similar, but I think the maths make sense, and you guys tell me what you think about this. Try to listen to this closely because I did think about this quite a bit. I would propose all fighters be within 7.5% of their fighting weight 1 week out from the event. They would weigh in exactly 1 week out. They would have to be 7.5% of, I think weight deaths should be fighters weigh in every month of the year and the average in their weight class. Right, I probably should move to light heavyweight. He should move to light heavyweight or he should train better. But 7.5% of your fighting weight a week out to me makes sense. This would mean a heavyweight, if you do the math, would weigh no more than 285 a week out. I don't think it's healthy to cut any more than 20 pounds no matter how big you are. And then on the other extreme, 125-pounder Demetrius Johnson, he could be no more than 134.5, which is 9.5 pounds cut. Still a huge cut. Right, it'll get squished at light heavyweight. That's what I think, Zoltan. That's the problem. And he needs to rededicate, go back down, you know. Do you give eyeways? Not sure exactly what you mean by that. But, yeah, I think he needs to rededicate at that weight or he needs to retire. Period. Darren Till's a stud, by the way. So if a fighter does not make this weight, I would propose if he's not within 7.5% of his fighting weight a week out, it's just as if he missed a regular weigh-in. He would give 20% of his purse to the fighter, to his opponent, and then his opponent would then have the choice of whether to fight him or not. To discourage people from fighting more, you know, from losing this weight, I think if their opponent refuses, they should have a penalty on top of that. I definitely also agree, Zoltan, that's what I was going to bring up next, is more weight classes. I know that they need to be implemented strategically, and probably slowly, but what the Nevada Athletic Commission has recommended, I completely agree with about every 10 pounds. Low IQ casual mainstream fans don't care about T. Wood. Hardcore MMA purists love T. Wood. Do you think Nunez has a shot at beating Cyborg? I think Nunez has a shot at beating Cyborg. To go back to T. Wood, I am extremely impressed with T. Wood. Tyrone Woodley, he was so articulate on that last episode of Joe Rogan. I'd had a lot of respect for him for a long time. But to just hear him talk about breaking the fight game down, what he looks for, the specifics, very, very few fighters, if any fighters, are breaking things down like he does. Like you talked to Stipe Miocic, and Stipe Miocic, I'm not down in his training, his physical training and everything, but he's interviewed and he says he hasn't even watched most of Francis's fights. He had no idea what he weighs right now. He's easily my favorite fighter. He's definitely one of my favorite fighters now too, Cap, and I would love to see him get that fight against GSP. I don't think it's going to happen. I think GSP's probably done, but I would love to see it. And speaking of T. Wood, Sources are saying Tony Khabib is fighting for the interim belt. Conor is still going to be the champ. T-Wood should move to featherweight. I am getting to the Conor thing. Don't get too far ahead of me there. I am gonna take a slight derail because I didn't have anything on the T-Wood thing this week. But Dana White offered Tyron Woodley a fight. You guys might have seen. It was, against a guy who just beat Robbie Lawler. And that's Rafael Dos Anjos. T-Wood moved to train at Rufus Sports so he wouldn't have to fight Askren, fight an Askren training partner. I did not realize that. Those are two talented guys, though. But yeah, Tyron Woodley didn't speak real highly of RDA. I mean, he didn't criticize him, but, he said I was not impressed with your performance. His performance against Lawler. That is, Lawler was injured. Wrong, him and Askren was longtime friends since their days at Missouri. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about their relationship between each other, honestly. But yeah, Tyron Woodley, of course, said he was not impressed with Rafael Dos Anjos' performance, and he doesn't want the fight. I don't think he's going to refuse any fight. Kevin Lee versus Ferguson too, but I guess Kevin would have to work his way back up before he ever fights Ferguson again. I have a feeling they're going to fight again down the road eventually. But Tyron Woodley says he's not interested in that fight against Rafael Dos Anjos. I don't think that... I don't see T-Wood turning down any fights. I mean, he's that kind of stand-up guy. Possible for Tyron Woodley to make featherweight or lightweight. He's talking about 192, 195 for cutting waterweight. Kevin is nice as shit. Yeah, no, I agree there. I would say T-Wood moves up before he moves down. Kevin Lee is a super nice guy, too. Moving on a little bit, I want to talk a little bit more about something going on. Vitor Belfort and Michael Bisping were rumored to have been offered a contract. Dana White says, you guys want to fight. Vitor Belfort, you lost your opponent. Michael Bisping lost his opponent. Let's fight each other. So he says, Michael Bisping straight up says, I may or may not have one more fight. But what he did say, part of the reasons he said, I will never fight. They're fighting in London, Bisping and Belfort. That was announced. And then the newest video, newest thing I read today is Bisping said he absolutely would not fight Vitor. Bellator is super thirsty for that fight. He wants that Bisping paycheck. Oh, for sure he does. But he said, Bisping says he doesn't know if he's going to fight one more fight or not. He said he would not fight Bisping. Vitor. He said, I cannot stand the guy. It's part of the reason I never wanted to do a video podcast before. He said, because my eye looks like a freak. That was his words, not mine. Of course, Michael Bisping's career was almost ended by Vitor when he almost lost an eye. I'm not going to address that. I have nothing to... Okay, I'm not sure why you would think that, but... Bisping said, my eye is a mess, and it's Vitor Belfort that did this to me, and he was roided out of his mind. Beef for his joke, effing juiced up. Yeah, exactly. And that's the point. He was roided out of his mind. He almost took his frickin' eye. Tyron. Bisping should retire. I believe he's made a lot of money. Probably not. I think he should have retired a little while ago. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, that's what I was saying. He says 0%. Bisping takes at least 6 months off to fight again. That I also agree with, if he fights again. Johnny Longfeller, you are now, my friend, the second person. Let me see here. To have a comment removed, and you're about to get yourself permanently removed. Oh. Just a second here, guys. Let me take care of the riffraff. Goodbye, racist race baiter Johnny Longfeller. You are no longer a part of our conversation, and don't come back. Thank you very much. He says, my eye is a mess, and it's Vitor that did this to me. He was roided out of his mind. Of course he was. Why would he fight him? But did you guys see what Vitor put out on his frickin' Instagram? This really pissed me off. Vitor responded by taking Instagram pics and posting them of him knocking Bisping out. Then he posted, sorry, I'm not looking at the screen for just a second. I'm not ignoring you guys. But then he posted, what a shame, Bisping. UFC just informed me that you have declined to fight. I understand you are scared. So stop pretending that you are tough and just admit that you are afraid. That wasn't all. He continued to question Bisping's character. And I thought you were man enough to step in the octagon with me again. My mistake. Unfortunately, looks like we will not be delivering to the fans the fight they want to see. If that wasn't brutal enough, then he had to question his legacy. And I've never been the biggest Bisping fan, but I have no reason to hate the guy. He says, happy retirement. You must be feeling amazing. Leaving the sport through the back door. To be a legend is not for everyone. What an asshole. Any respect I had left for Vitor Belfort pretty much just went out the back door right there. He can go fuck himself. You know, I know he's been through, you know, he's had his demons in the past. He went through losing his sister, whatever, all those things. That has nothing to do with it. He took this guy's fucking eye. Then he's going to call him a coward, say that he's going to leave the sport through the back door. Somebody that helped build the sport. One of the veterans from the beginning. Vitor and Cyborg share TRT needles. Yeah, probably Zoltan. It's insane, but yeah, I could not be more disappointed. I don't know if Vitor's lost his mind or whatever, but I know it would be unprecedented probably for things that people have said, but I wouldn't want Vitor back in the UFC after saying things like that. Fighters say things in bantamweight fights. This to me was unexcusable because he took this man's sight from him. He permanently handicapped him. Then he mocked him online and disgraced his career. This guy wishes Rikishi gave him the stink face so he can fill shit sass of the straw. Vitor said he's retiring after next one. He wants Bisping in London. I seen that. Vitor's just mad because Bisping won the big and he didn't. And he's trying to go, obviously he's trying to goat Bisping, but I don't know if he's got so much brain damage that he doesn't understand that's not inappropriate. Or that's not appropriate. What's your pick for Yoel versus Luke? I got Yoel by knockout. I definitely have Yoel. I have Yoel by knockout or decision. I think he'll outstrike Luke. He'll out-wrestle him. Not to say that Luke couldn't pull off the upset. I mean, he's a beast. But, yeah, I would pick Yoel in that one. Chael or Rampage? God, these guys are so old and fat and out of shape. I can't believe they got moved to the main event. Yoel by flying knee round one. That would be awesome to see. Because an arrogant prick. Yeah, I don't care for his attitude personally, but he is a great fighter. Yoel is amazing. Chael and Rampage, man, it's hard to say because who knows what weight those guys are going to come in at. If either one of them in training, F at all. Cockle does good game, rides people like a surfboard. I love it. Chael, no talent, Sonnen. He might hold Rampage down for the whole fight. I don't think he's going to be big enough, though, especially at heavyweight. God, what is Rampage walking in at? Probably 240. And Stardust, you are now gone. Thank you very much. Rampage got at least 35-pound weighted match. Yeah, but Rampage doesn't like wrestlers, and that's another good point. But I believe Rampage will kill Sonnen. If he comes in any shape at all, and people forget, as much as Rampage says he hates wrestling, it's not like he can't wrestle. He has those slams for a reason. Let's see Chael try to grab a hold of him. Yeah, Chael needs to retire. Rampage probably needs to retire too. Living your old UFC and Pride days. And Chael, pretty good chin and gritty. It all depends on what shape these guys come in at. And I don't even know if Chael is really honestly capable of competing at that level. without performance-enhancing drugs, honestly. Everybody ages at different times, and I don't know where Chael is as far as that. Rampage has obviously lacked a lot of motivation in last years, too. Let's go to the Ronda Rousey thing. We were talking about that earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and go to that. Speculation's over, of course. Ronda Rousey has officially signed with the WWE, making her return to the ring. Chael's like, if Chael doesn't get it on the ground, he doesn't stand a chance. No way. Rampage said he's actually motivated to win Bellator belts. He's already got Pride and UFC belt. If it's a motivated Rampage, he destroys him, but I haven't seen a motivated Rampage in a long time. Ronda Rousey could make her debut in the Women's Royal Rumble. At 30 years old, Rousey seems to be done with the UFC, as we kind of talked about. She still has significant star power. Could she still win some matches in the UFC? Yes, of course she could. I think if she gets a real training camp, she addresses her weakness, she builds game plans that cater to her strength, she can still beat some people out there. She can still beat some good people out there. But I don't think she wins the title again. And I don't see her being happy with being a gatekeeper. So as far as Hollywood, as far as future star appeal, I think, honestly, it's probably better to have a career in the WWE and go the John Cena Rock route than try to get movies when you're getting your ass beat as a gatekeeper in the UFC. To me, as far as the movie career and going forward, unfortunately, that's kind of a no-brainer. With WWE studios, you know, WWE making their own movies. Some of them pretty good, by the way. That new Bruce Lee movie did not get the greatest ratings, but I liked it. I went in after seeing the ratings, expecting to be upset, expecting to hate it. I actually liked the movie. I don't know how much it's based in fact, but as a martial arts standalone movie, I would recommend it. It's not the best movie I've ever seen, but I would recommend it. And with WWE Studios, they're going to take Ronda Rousey under a ring. They're obviously going to do some movies with her. Travis Brown going to the WWE. He probably should now, too. I think we should all do all WWE. Ronda UFC career, damn it, so WWE would be her best move. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think so. I don't even know if Ronda can beat all those people anymore. I just think the game passed her by, honestly. And then, exactly. And then this idiot coach of hers that even her mom told her to get rid of because the guy is a freaking crook. He doesn't know MMA. He's a piece of shit as far as I'm concerned. Talks her into thinking that she's going to be this striking savant because she gets one lucky knockout and ruins her game plan. Yeah, Conor was rumored to be in the WWE. I've seen that. I want to see Ronda and BJ tournaments. That would be great, Zoltan. I think she would do very well in those. She is very one-dimensional, and she should have realized that. She should have gotten a coach that trained her to be more like a Damian Maia, and she could have competed more. She has absolutely no head movement. She has the worst head movement, some of the worst head movement I've ever seen. Chael was rumored also. Chael belongs in the WWE. He was born to be in the WWE. So that was crazy. Anyways, I'd like to watch some movies with Ronda, and I thought she did a pretty good job in The Expendables 3. I thought, she did well in that. She could definitely do some fight movies. I watched her versus Nunya 2 days ago. It was so embarrassing. Yeah, that, like we said, gatekeeper. Gatekeeper. Who wants to be a gatekeeper in the WWE when you can go somewhere else and be a star, get into movies, and collect for the next 10 years and stop getting punched in the face? I mean, I know there's a differing opinion with a lot of people. I think she's a beautiful girl. Obviously, Sports Illustrated did. They put her on her swimsuit issue. On her MMA needed to just dive wrong, go for legs, not trying to get... Yes, exactly. I don't know WWE had gatekeepers. No, gatekeeper in the UFC. I think that was a joke there. But I'm guessing. I'm going to switch to the next topic here, though. Francis Ngannou actually called out Brock Lesnar in an interview where he sounded like he was looking past Stipe Miocic. I like Francis, but I'm not a fan of this kind of thing at all. Stipe Miocic's one of the most talented all-around MMA fighters in the history of the game. And Francis is still very new at this. Yes, he's got a lot of power, but he's got his work cut out for him at UFC 220. He speculated on the Top Turtle podcast. He explained he considers Brock Lesnar as his dream opponent. Said, I'd always like to see the match between me and Brock Lesnar. Two dudes, I like that matchup. Says, after I'm done with Stipe, I want Brock. Oh, of course. I mean, it's a smart move, but get through the fight you're on. Brock Lesnar ain't getting back in the UFC, so Francis, I don't know. He's only got 7 months. Francis would kill Brock. Oh, of course he would. Francis versus Stipe is a toss-up. I think Francis can get it done, though. That could go either way. I'm still picking Stipe, like I've said in the past. I think Francis in 2 years might come in. Maybe it's okay to make him the favorite, but I don't think he's quite where Stipe is. That being said, with that kind of power, he could definitely catch him. He's coming along very, very quickly. Cain is training again, could do immediate title shot. I can't wait to see Cain Velasquez come back. I would love to see him versus the winner of Stipe and Francis Ngannou. I think either one of those matchups is an absolutely incredible fight. I hope Cain is injury-free this time when he comes back. And I hope, I hope he's got some of those things behind him. I hope he's 100%, because he's definitely one of the best heavyweights, if not the best heavyweight ever to step in the ring. C-level Cain. Dude's got cardio for days. His cardio is just unsurpassed. Stipe does get hit. Remember, over him dropped him with a jab. Yes, he does. Off topic, but are you Italian or something? No, I'm not Italian. I'm not sure. I've never had one of those blood tests. Francis touches him, it's over. Yeah, for sure. I'm, I guess what you call Heinz 57. I don't know. No, I am almost a quarter Native American, and I know I have some French in me. So we traced our lineage back. We actually did look at a lineage book, and my family was actually the first family to bring over the Lutheran Methodist Church. So that was pretty interesting to read, or at least so they say in the diaries. Stipe is good close range, but can't get that close to King Kong. God bless Stipe, though. He's a great champion person, for sure. Okay, you're just like Dustin Poirier. He's French. Well, I'm glad you guys keep comparing me to fighters, because you guys know that I had a few drinks in one of these last podcasts, but I called out one of the fighters in the UFC. Well, somebody threw the name out there, but I said I'd gladly take the fight. I am in training. I'm calling out CM Punk. He walks around 220. I'm walking around 250. I'll lose the weight. I'll give you 6 months, CM Punk. Dana, you can give me the minimum UFC and put it together. Mike Reviews versus CM Punk. Put us on an undercard. I don't care where it is. I'm calling out CM Punk. You guys explode his Twitter. CM Punk will kill you, Cap says. Probably, dude, but I would do it. He's the same age as me. Yeah, I would do a lot of. I would need a lot of training. What you guys have been dying to get to, like we were talking about. Let's talk about. Remember, he trains at Rufus Sport. This is true. So yeah, I'd probably get killed. You're right, but Duke Rufus is a man. Oh, one of the best trainers ever. Shows better than Helwani's. Thank you for the compliment. I don't know if I'm better than Ariel Helwani. He's pretty damn good, but thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I try to do something a little different with interacting with you guys. I haven't seen too many people do that, so I'm going to continue to go with that format. Let's get into Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Of course, this was announced for UFC 223. Thanks for all the thumbs up. All you guys, if you could hit a like, it definitely hit that like button. It definitely helps me out. Helps the stream move up. Helps the channel. It's okay. He asks dumb questions at times. Oh yeah, he does. Oh, and he also talks about people's clothes and tries to get them to start beef with other people. He does annoy me at times, for sure. For sure. I wouldn't do that with fighters, but I mean, you know, he's a good reporter, and those fighters aren't willing to talk to me, so obviously he's done something right. Of course, Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov is official at UFC 223. I'm not ignoring you guys, but I'm going to look down from the comments for a second to talk about this. Of course, the ink is dry. The main event for UFC 223 set. Tony Ferguson will fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. Finally. From what I read, it is not exactly clear if it will be for the title. There is a press conference coming up for UFC 223 and 222 and 223, scheduled for 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. They're going to talk about possibly if Conor will be stripped for sure. But Dana's used the strongest language that that he ever has with Conor. He said he can't hold up the title forever. He can't hold up the whole division. I went on, he says, if he wants to ride off into the sunset with his money for the rest of his life, I don't blame him. If he wants to come back and fight, we'll get him back in. He just can't hold up the division. When asked how he would stop McGregor from holding up the division, he did dig in further. He said, you take the belt. In the NBA, hockey, whatever it may be, no one guy can hold up the sport hostage. It just doesn't happen. He says, we'll make more stars. The NBA moved on without Michael Jordan. They got LeBron James. They'll move on when LeBron James moves on. I hope that's the truth. I would like to see Conor back. Ariel versus Dana White. Oh, God, Dana White would destroy him. He gets passed for having to fight since he admitted he isn't a fighter. Russian Jew. Like, I believe Area is of Russian descent. He looks like he's of Russian descent. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd like to see Errol's nose punch sideways. The nose definitely not made for fighting. No, not at all. That's a huge nose for sure. Helani only talks about people's clothes. Start beef with okay back there. Yeah, I got respect for him as a commentator. Sometimes I don't particularly enjoy some of the things he says to fighters. I much prefer Joe Rogan's podcast, of course, and who bumped me off last week. I was pretty damn happy that the Joe Rogan MMA podcast was not on Thursday this week, because I really cannot compete with Joe Rogan, and I don't even want to try. So I was pretty glad that he did that podcast on Monday, which was great if you haven't listened to it. Do you remember when Conor McGregor versus Chad Mendes press conference and a little kid had the mic and asked Conor to rip Chad Mendes' head off? That was super funny. Oh, yeah, it was. Do you think Nick Diaz will ever come? I really hope so. Jeff Nowitzki, USADA's advocate for the UFC fighters. He's the advocate to USADA, used to be the head of USADA, said he thinks Nick wants to fight. Of course, Nick's facing a suspension right now again. I would love to see Nick Diaz fight T. Wood. I would pay for that fight in a second. I don't know if he's there. Yeah, he's been calling him out for years. I don't think right now Nick's ready, though. I think he'd need a tune-up fight or two. He's not at that level right now. He may have been at one time. But Nick Diaz is facing a suspension for that no-show clause, the whereabouts clause, where you have to tell USADA your whereabouts basically at all times. He had I believe it was 2 failures within a year. Did you see that John Jones took a polygraph test? I did. I wonder if Khabib doesn't make it to UFC 23, who can Tony fight as a replacement? Probably Kevin Lee again. I don't know. I think he's just pulling off that card for some. I don't see why Khabib's not going to make it. He had the best training camp ever this last time. He's right on weight. Everything looks good, so I don't see that being an issue. Besides your commentary, my favorite is Eugene. Well, thank you very much, Zoltan. When you say besides my commentary, that is a huge compliment. I appreciate you guys so much. I'm really new at this, and I know I'm slowly learning. I honestly believe and have no doubt if they were to have an open weight division of all weight classes, Conor would be the champion. I disagree. I greatly disagree, and I don't think he has much of a chance at all against Khabib Nurmagomedov. But did you guys see the other fight that was announced for UFC 223, the co-main event? Rose Namajunas and JoJo. Joanna's going to get her rematch against Rose Namajunas here soon, April 7th, actually, which is interesting timing. Conor ain't coming back till September. I've heard him say that. Everyone like, thank you very much, Cap. Listen to Cap or he's going to smack you around. No. If everybody could like and subscribe, though, it really does help me out. Please hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already. You know, that's the only thing that gets me a couple dimes for doing this every week. And it's not a lot, but definitely helps. God would throw me. Yeah, for sure. Joanna will beat Rose. I would take Joanna in this last one. I was very surprised to see Rose Namajunas knock Joanna out. The fight was so quick. It's really hard for me to say if it was a fluke, if Joanna took her too lightly, or what exactly happened. I think JoJo's going to have a full camp. She's going to be able to adjust on the mistakes she made, but so is Rose, and she is coming along, you know, further and further every fight. So I'm looking forward to that fight. Joanna and Cyborg is the woman's goat. Cap said, I thought so until you got to give Rose her due. Yes, I think JJ wins a rematch is why Rose dodging her. Let me ask you this. What if he beats Khabib and then Tony? What will you say, and what other excuse will they make up with? I wish they would have given Valentina an immediate rematch with Nunez. Oh, that was a great fight. You want to fire her trash nutrition? I seen that. Very good on her. Dana lets Conor do whatever he wants to. Never let any other champion not defend their crowns. Dana is such a favoritism person. To answer that question, you're obviously a big Conor fan. I like Conor McGregor. Don't get me wrong. I want Cyborg versus Nunez too. But if Conor goes in there back-to-back, beats Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov, I will say he is one of the greatest fighters living right now. And I will say it on my show, and I will eat the crow. I might even cook up a real crow and eat it on the show because I really don't think he's going to do it. I don't know if he's even going to fight either one of those guys. But mark my words, if Conor McGregor's next two fights are against Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson, I will literally find someone that knows how to prepare crow. We will kill it, we will cook it, and I will eat it live on the air. That's how confident I am that Conor McGregor is not going to be Khabib and Tony Ferguson back-to-back. But I could be wrong, and I could be eating crow. So we'll see. What do you guys think of that? I don't think Ariel Helwani is going to promise that. I don't know if it tastes like chicken. I imagine it's a little rougher. But maybe you find somebody that knows how to prepare it right. Probably look something up on YouTube, I'm sure, on how to prepare crow. They eat nothing but garbage, so I'm a little worried. Conor will get killed by Max Frankie and Brian Ortega at 145. Conor will get killed by Khabib, Tony, and Kevin at 155. Conor will get killed by... Oh, that's great, Gap. Conor ain't good enough to fight neither one of these guys, named Tony or Khabib. He's going to more likely fight Nate Diaz. I would love to see the trilogy fight. Give up your belt, let Tony and Khabib fight. I am fine with him fighting Nate Diaz a third time if he wants to give up the belt. That second fight, Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor, it was one of the best fights I've ever seen. Conor McGregor beat Max Holloway with a torn ACL. Max Holloway was not the fighter that he is today. I'm not a Conor McGregor fighter. Hater. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see a third fight between Conor and Nate Diaz. Like I said, the second fight, it was one of the best fights I think I've ever seen. Yes, Max was a rookie. Max was super young. If I'm not wrong, I think he was like 21 years old. I mean, he's still a super young dude, and he's getting better so fast. I still would love to see the rematch. Max versus Conor. I think Conor would have a better chance against him than he would against Khabib and Tony. One compliment I will give to Conor is he had that power at 135 and he brung it up to 145 and then even to fight at 170 when he fought Nate Diaz. And, I give him credit there. Conor is a good fighter. He is a good striker. He's an awesome promoter. Max has good submissions if you watch him amateur before UFC. I'm a huge Max Holloway fan. Huge. And that would be huge for his career. I would love to see him get a big money fight like that. That would be awesome. I think that would be incredible. But like I said, I think Conor versus Nate Diaz is the fight to make right now. I think that fight sells well. You're going to kind of have to make some excuses for Conor. I don't know what you do to make that fight if he ducks Tony and Khabib. But I don't care. I want to see the fight either way. And I can't wait to see Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. That's going to be a dynamite fight. I'm tired of Conor taking easy fights instead of using the channel. Conor has the worst fan base. Fan base full of kids. I'd love to have his fan base, though. I would love to have that Irish fan base. He's got a whole country behind him. And just like any other fans, maybe more so, I think is then hottest female UFC fighter. Carolina, in my opinion, hottest UFC fighter. I don't know. I think it was Gina Carano. I'm probably going to get lambasted for this, but I've always had a thing for Ronda Rousey. Maybe it's the judo background, but I was a big Rousey fan, probably because I followed her through from her judo days. But I don't think I'm going to have to worry about that decision anytime soon. So thanks for another great show, guys. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Please, I don't like to beg, but please hit that like button on the way out. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Ain't Mary Renee skit some Fulgin busted. Yeah, but please hit that subscribe button. We're gonna have a huge fight cast coming up. Oh, Volkan busted. I didn't see anything about Volkan. This is my prediction on Conor's next fights: Khabib, Nate Diaz, Palmo, Najee, Tony Ferguson, Max Holloway, and Conor. Oh my gosh, BB, you're ridiculous, dude. Was Volkan popped? I have not seen this. If anybody has an update, post it up there right now. Just spent night in jail. Haha, no way. I don't know if this is true. I haven't read into this, guys, but I'm going to look into this right away. Wow, that would be crazy for sure. I love your passion, BB, but yeah, that's some delusional speaking, and you might want to reconsider your thinking process there. Court video on YouTube. I will definitely check that out. Real fighter doesn't dunk any man, and Conor does just that. For sure, Tehran, but I don't blame him for going off the money. Volkan got cleared of bar fight in Florida. Trial resumes after fight. Okay, I hope that's the news. I hope that main event is still on, the co-main event. So tune in here on Saturday, guys. I'm going to see you guys on Saturday. We're going to do both. We're going to do a double thing. I'm going to start out with the main event, if not a little bit before. I have plenty of time to prepare for it. We're going to do Francis Ngannou and Stipe. They say that every time Conor McGregor... Oh, my gosh, BB. Anyways, we're going to do, of course, Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou, the UFC 220. Bellator intelligently moved their card back to 9 p.m. So when the main event for UFC 220 comes in, we'll be able to watch both main fights over in Bellator. I'm a lot more interested. You want McNuggets, baby? Oh, God, I love it, Zoltan. Don't run them off, though. Please subscribe still, VB. Give me a thumbs up, too, on the way out, goddammit. No, definitely join me on Saturday, though. We're going to do UFC 220, and then we're going to do the two main fights for Bellator. I'm not as excited about the Chael Sonnen fight as I am about the fight between Rory McDonald and Douglas Lima. That's going to be a beast of a fight. That should still be the main event. Thank you very much for subscribing, Bogart Brand. He said he was going to beat Floyd and Nate the first time he didn't. Yeah. Well, I will say I was impressed with how well we did against Floyd. I thought he'd get knocked out right away. But, yeah, he did lose 2 of his last 4 fights. That's a true statement. I don't know if I would count the boxing match being that he had never boxed before, but he's nowhere near the best fighter in MMA. Probably not even top 10 in the world. So, even at his weight. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Douglas Lima versus Rory McDonald fight. I think that's going to be huge. And I'm going to tune in to Bellator as soon as the UFC pay-per-view is over. So tune in here. I'll be calling UFC 220 starting at 7 o'clock. Vasil beats Conor, Floyd, and Diaz. And yes, yeah, never a champ. Could defend the belt. Ha ha. Lima might beat Rory. Lima might beat Rory, and Volkan might beat Daniel Cormier. I hope DC's not underestimating Volkan. Dude is no joke. Dude is tough. He's got good takedown defense. He's got intense striking. He's taller. He could pick DC apart. I'm not saying he's going to come in the favorite, but I could definitely see it. I see Rory winning. I see Rory winning too, but it's going to be a great fight. Kind of the same thing with the 45 belt. Had the division on hold. Yeah, and he went off to fight Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, that whole thing was ridiculous. I don't even know if Conor fights again. But like I said, I will see you guys on Saturday for UFC 220, Francis Ngannou versus Stipe. When we run through, I'm going to say Stipe beats Francis, though. I'm going to say DC does beat Volkan. Well, MVP. I want to see MVP in the UFC for sure. He could be the next Anderson Silva. Just ready for TJ and Mighty Mouse. I'd love to see that. Chelsea is boring. What time Saturday? I will be on at least by 7, Cap, because that's when the main event starts. I don't know if I'll do any of the pre-fight because I don't know if I want to run my voice for more than 4.5 hours since I'm going to be doing the end of Bellator too. But so let's say 7 o'clock. Thank you very much again. Like I said, please hit the subscribe, and I only see 2 likes up there, so please bump that like button before you get out of here. DJ just got surgery. TJ not gonna wait. I seen that. We'll see. We will see. I heard he got some stem cell injections though, and he said he is recovering pretty quickly. T-Wood did the same thing. Super smart move. That's the future right there. Super smart move. So I'll see you guys on Saturday, 7 o'clock. Thank you very much again for tuning in. Hit that like button and flood some comments down after I post the video. People talk and talk, but no one, everyone can smell a championship. Okay. TJ Dillashaw needs to defend his belt. We know you like Conor McGregor, BB. It's clear. TJ Dillashaw needs to defend his belt. That's a valid point, Ryan. That's a valid point there, because that's what Conor McGregor was called out for, and he'd kind of be doing the same thing, going down and fighting Demetrius, but not near the same, because he's not going to go box. Go eat some nuggets. Oh, I love it, guys. That would be great if he was secretly Conor. I would be honored to have Conor McGregor watching my podcast. My video cast. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great week. Get some rest. See you Saturday.